The road to winning Mr. Natural Olympia also led to a career in personal training, consultation, and a new book, Natural Bodybuilding. Please welcome two-time Mr. Universe winner, John Hansen, to Community Connection. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having
being
me.
here.
Thanks for having me.
You were so focused that at the age of 14, you knew what you wanted to do, and you set a goal. Tell us, first of all, how did you come up with that goal at age 14?
Well, my interest in bodybuilding started when I was a kid, when I was reading the comic books, the superhero comic books, and I liked the physiques that the superheroes had. But back then, not too many people lifted weights. You know, there wasn't too many bodybuilders out there. There were, but nobody knew what bodybuilding was. You know, so the first guy I saw who had a real muscular physique was Bruce Lee, and I saw a picture of him at a car show, and I was like, that guy looks ripped, and he looks like the superheroes. So I started emulating him, and I started doing what he did. And one of the things he did was lift weights for more power, for martial arts. And then I didn't know what to do with the weights when I got them, so I had to buy the bodybuilding magazines, and that's when I found out about bodybuilding.
And fast forward to now, and you're on the cover
of Iron Man magazine. Yeah.
Of Iron Man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment. So tell us about the journey from 14 to now. How, you set out for that to achieve that goal.
Right. Once I found out what bodybuilding was, I said, this is what I want to do. And my goal immediately was to win Mr. Universe and to be a champion bodybuilder and then be in the magazines. So I started competing at 16, and I did 10 shows as a teenager and worked my way up. I won Mr. Illinois when I was 23. And then they started having the natural bodybuilding competitions where they drug test, so nobody's on steroids or anything. And I started competing in that, and they had a natural Mr. Universe. And the Mr. Universe was always the title I wanted to win, so I won that when I was 29.
Why is that so important, the whole natural aspect of it? Or why did that appeal to you?
That's the way bodybuilding is supposed to be. It started off as something for health, you know, health and strength and building your physique. And then it got off track, and you know, the steroids entered into bodybuilding like they did in a lot of other sports, because people wanted to get better and bigger. And you know, the natural thing sort of brings us back to our roots, you know, and it brings us back to just developing your physique through exercise, nutrition, and also your mind, you know, using your mind, the power of your mind to develop your physique.
Now, I visited your website and am amazed at some of the people who've never in their life before done any strength training.
Right.
And the effect that it's had on them. And,
exactly.
And education is one of your missions now.
Yeah, what I found out when I started personal training was that if I apply the same principles that I used as a bodybuilder, which is weight training, cardiovascular work, and the right nutrition plan, anybody can change their physiques. Anybody, whether it's men or women, young or old, doesn't matter. And a lot of people think bodybuilding is just developing your muscles and getting up on stage, which is what I did, the competitive end of it. But if you follow those principles, you can really make an unbelievable change in someone's physique, you know. Whether it's just an average housewife or a 50, 60-year-old man or a teenage kid or whatever, it doesn't matter. If they follow those principles, they can really change their physique.
And you also have on your website living proof that it's never too late, because you do have photographs of people and people who might say, you know, I've never been athletic.
Right.
Where do I begin? Where does somebody begin?
Well, the body will respond to any kind of stress. So even if you take a 90-year-old, they've done studies with 90-year-olds in nursing homes who couldn't walk and started giving them leg exercises, and their legs develop, you know. So your muscles will develop based on the stress you impose on them, you know. So it's never too late. If you start weight training, if you start on the right diet, you can lose fat, you can gain muscle. You may not be Arnold Schwarzenegger at 60, but you know, you could still really change your physique just by following the right principles.
And does that also work, say you were an athlete, you stopped doing anything?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you start up again?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that happens a lot where people will lose their goals. Even people who go to the gym, you know, they have a goal and they reach it, and then once they reach it, they're sort of, then they're done, and then they quit for a while, and they lose track, and then they can always come back, and you have muscle memory, and you can come back faster also.
What motivates you as a bodybuilder and as a trainer after all these years? What keeps you going?
That's a good question, because you have to keep setting new goals for yourself in order to stay motivated, because I'm like anybody else. I could get off track. I could, you know, start eating cookies and, you know, get off my diet and, you know, stop going to the gym. So I always set new goals for myself. My goal this year was to make the cover of Iron Man magazine. I've been writing for that magazine for 10 years, and I've never made the cover because their photographer is very critical. You know, you have to be perfect. If you're not perfect, you can't make the cover. And I've done like 4 photo shoots and didn't make it. So this year. I said, I'm going to make it this year, and I told everybody. That's another thing, you know, when you set a goal, if you tell everybody about your goal, that's a great way to motivate yourself, because now you're out there. You have to do it, you know. So that's what I did. I told everybody I'm going to make the cover this year, and I dieted down, and I did it.
So you add that accountability factor into it, and
right.
and
Yeah,
keeps you
that's
going.
a big part of it, right.
And that's pretty much in any kind of a program, whether it's strength training or exercise or weight loss.
Right,
to
exactly.
do that.
Right.
So what's your next goal then, John?
You know, I might compete again. I haven't competed in 7 years, and the Natural Olympia, which I won the first one in 1998 in Greece, is coming up again in Reno, Nevada in November. So since I'm in shape, I'm still staying in shape. I'm still doing more photo shoots. I did one this morning with Don Bersano, a local photographer. And so I'm going to maybe do a show again, the Natural Olympia in November.
Well, we wish you much success.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being with us
Thanks.
today.